Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. It's Monday and it's a beautiful day here. Thought we'd go out in the bush again and do some exercises. And as you can see, I'm just in my gardening gear, well, apart from my top. And I've just got some common things that commonly used in the garden and around the house just to help me do my exercises today. And today I wanted to focus on the upper limb, and especially some of the conditions that affect people as we age, and just things you may never have thought about, like grip strength, dexterity, range of motion. These are all terms that physios use, but in real everyday life it can affect whether you can open your jar or lift your shopping or continue with your knitting or things like that, things that really impact your everyday experience. So first of all, we're going to look at our shoulders today. Now, I have grabbed my broom. This is just an old, it's pretty old. You don't have to have special equipment to do these exercises, but this is going to be fine for maintaining your range of motion around your shoulders. So I'm just going to show you a few quick and easy exercises you can do. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is some range of motion for our shoulders. Now, sometimes I know people have arthritis in their shoulders, or they might have had an injury, and it's hard for one shoulder to move the same as the other. So the beauty of having a broom or a mop or just something that you can use like this is that you can help the other arm. If this one can't move as well, this one helps it with the broom. Okay, so let's start with some gentle flexion exercises. So we're going to go up over our head, remembering our breathing. We'll just do a few rounds of this just to get our shoulders moving. We don't have to do this quickly. We can just enjoy feeling our body stretching and opening out. About 3 more. 2 and 3. Now, before we leave this exercise, I just want to show you what's happening at the back here. So when I'm doing this, my shoulder blades are squeezing together and I'm opening out. So when I'm doing this, let's just try a couple more and imagine your shoulder blades squeezing together as your elbows push back. And it's actually a really nice stretch for the front of your chest as well. Okay, I think you've got the hang of that one. There's so many exercises you can do with a broom. So we'll just do some sitting ones at the moment, because some of you won't have good balance. And if you do have good balance, if you're not worried about falling over, you can easily do these when you're standing up. But for those of us who don't have such great balance, let's stay in our chairs for now while I teach you these. Okay, so this one we're going to call painting the rainbow. So we're going to put our hand over our head like this. You can see that I'm using the broom. I've got approximately, I don't know, what's that, about 1 meter between my hands. And I'm going to just take it over in the shape of an arc down to the other side. Got my tree trunk there. So I'm getting a nice stretch in my trunk, as well as moving through range. So I'm painting my rainbow. Breathing in as we go up and out as we go down. In and out. Up again Okay, next we can do stirring the pot. So I'm going to plant my broom in front of me. Imagine we've got a big cauldron, a pot in front of us, or a big porridge pot. And we're just going to go round. So you can see that this is exercising my shoulders again, and I'm also stretching my trunk, stretching out and in. Whoops, moved. Here we go. Nice and simple one to get you going in the morning if you don't have sore shoulders. So I'm just going in one direction at the moment, but we're going to change that in a minute. Okay, and the other side. So the beauty of these exercises using the broom is that if you have one arm or one shoulder that's not working as well as the other one, you can get some assistance. So you can do things evenly in this exercise. And I'm still stirring the pot. How's that feeling? Gently warm up. Okay, now there's other exercises we could get into. We could start focusing on the muscles of our arms here, our biceps. Now, if we were in a gym and we were, having all the equipment, you'd have weights hanging off these. But we're just using our brooms, so we're just focusing on range today. So we can go down and up. This is a biceps curl. Remember your breathing and try and do this evenly so that both hands are touching the knees at the same time and coming up at the same time. Okay, now we're going to change it a bit. We're going to push up, so we're going to have our hands curled around this way, fingertips pointing forwards, so the broom is under my hand. And we're just going to go straight up, up and down, up and down. Then take nice deep breaths and let them out. So in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Okay, let's try pushing out to one side. So we're just going to turn our body a little bit, and we're going to go this way. And then we're going to turn our body the other way and go this way. So we'll do a few of those. I'll count to 10. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Okay, how are you going? Are you feeling good in your shoulders yet? So I'm going to put my broom down, and I have a water bottle here. This is just something I found in the cupboard. It's probably about a litre by the look of it, maybe 1.6, not sure. Anyway, it's enough to get some strengthening for my muscles. So you could find maybe if you have a fruit juice box, a 1 litre fruit juice box, or you might have a bag of rice, you might have a tin of beans, just something from the pantry. We'll just use one today because we're going to alternate our upper limbs. So I'm just giving you some time. Find something you can use as a weight. If you can't do that, the weight of your own body is fine. You don't even need a weight. We'll just use this exercise to get your body moving in range. Okay, so if we wanted to make a heavier weight, we can do our biceps curls with this one. Okay, let's just practice that for a minute. Okay, swap it round to the other hand. I'm only going to do about 5 because I want to show you some other things. Okay, now this time I'm going to change it up. I am going to take I'm just turning sideways so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take my arm back. Now you can sit in your chair and be supported if you need to be, so that your back is supported, as long as you've got room to move your arm. I don't. But I'm going to sit slightly forward and I'm going to take my arm back as much as I can. So now I'm getting 2 exercises in one. Getting my biceps curl, and I'm getting a little bit of extension in my shoulder. And remembering to breathe, and we don't have to do this fast, just as fast as you can. Everyone watching this probably has a different ability. So some of you will be a lot more mobile than others. If you're in your own kitchen, doesn't matter how fast or how slow you're doing it, as long as you're doing it safely. Now I'm going to change to the other side. So this is what it looks like again. Down and back. So we'll just do that for a little while. People are always asking, how many should I do? And that just depends on what your starting point is and where you start to get tired. There's no point doing it till it hurts, because that'll just put you off. But if you do a little bit here and there, you'll find that you get a lot stronger, and then you'll be able to do more of them, or heavier weights, or progress yourself that way. And of course, the object of this is not so that you can just lift a weight. The object is so that you can do things in your daily life and keep doing the things that you enjoy. So part of doing what we enjoy is to have the strength to be able to do it. So today I thought I'd focus on our upper limb. We've got okay, a lot of the common problems that people have as we get older, you might get sore joints, so there's pain in movement, you might get reduced movement, and if you keep active, it actually helps reduce the pain. I know a lot of the people that I've treated who have arthritis tell me it's really worst when they wake up in the morning, and once they get moving, it's a lot better. So if you can do just small active range of motion type things to get yourself going, you'll find that you'll be able to do more with your day. So one of the things I was going to show you is going to start with our fingers. So I found a rubber band in my kitchen drawer. In fact, I found 2. So I've got a small one and a big one. The really good ones are those really thick ones that won't break. Otherwise, you can get specialised equipment. But what I wanted to show you was just a really basic strengthening exercise for your finger, or maybe a few exercises if we get round to it. So with our hands, it's a lot easier for the body to bend. So you'll find, particularly if you've had a stroke and you've rehabilitated from a stroke, the body tends to curl inwards like a little flower closing all its petals. It's like that's the comfort position for the body, to curl up. So what we need to do is to remind it how to stretch out and be stronger. These are our extensor muscles. And when we do opening type exercises, that's harder for the body. And that's the thing we need to practice actually to get our strength back and our function. So what I'm doing, I've just taken this rubber band, simple as it is. You can find it around your bunch of spinach or something from the fruit market. You can do this sort of exercise. Really simple. I meet a lot of older adults who tell me, oh, I can't knit anymore, or I can't, I can't thread my needle, or I can't do this or that, because it requires those fine muscles in the fingers, and those muscles haven't been exercised for a while. So if you like to do those sort of things, knitting and fine work, even using tools, it's good to just do these sort of exercises. Keep your finger muscles limber and strong. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing. I suppose, what could we call this one? This is like the jellyfish. So if we get a close-up of my hand there, you can see as I do this, the fingers are trying to pull back and straighten out and stretch. Now, you can do this anytime. You can do it watching TV. You can do it just anytime you're not doing anything else. Okay, so that's actually quite a lot of resistance for my hand. I found a lighter rubber band. What we can do with that one, we can just get our fingers and our thumb, put it around the tip there, try not to ping it off and flick the cat or anything in the corner. And you can see now, whoops, just have to hold it on. Might help if I hold it on. I'm strengthening the intrinsics of my hand. And I'm going to do that one finger at a time. You can hold it on if you're having trouble. I'm having trouble. So we're just strengthening those stretching out muscles. You see a lot of people, ooh, you see a lot of people with worry balls and things like that. I mean, that's fine if you're bending muscles, the ones that tighten up, if they need strengthening, then, squeeze the worry ball or the plasticine as much as you like. But people forget what we actually need are the stretching out muscles. So I'm going to go to the next finger. Some fingers are weaker than others, and this little one here, ring man, he's weaker. Okay, I think you're getting the idea, but just because you might be practicing this at home with me. Now, if you don't have a rubber band, you can just be doing this. That's good too. There's not any resistance with that though. So we're stretching out as much as we can. Okay, so this is going to maintain my hand strength so that I can use my cutlery properly. I can open jars. I can use my knitting needles. I can hold the things that I need for my everyday life. Okay, let's go to the other hand. So you'll know what to do now. Stretching out. That's what it looks like from the front. Okay. Now, just for the sake of practice now, I'm just going to keep doing this. And then I'll show you some other exercises. Now I'm up to ring man on this one. You might notice a difference between your right and your left hand, depending on which is your dominant hand. Okay, there we go. So there's some simple exercises you can do at home. Now that's not all, there's even more we can do. If you've got a rubber band, there's so many good little finger exercises you can do. Where did my other one go? I can't find it, I have to use this one. So we can do this one, taking our fingers apart, taking our thumb and fingers apart. We can put 2 in and can give it some support there. I think you're getting the picture anyway. We can put them all in and try and separate them. So just that humble rubber band can help us keep our hands nice and strong and dexterous. So just a few ideas for you. Whoops. Okay, I hope you're doing some of that at home. Now we haven't finished yet because I wanted to go on to the wrist and the forearm. So here's my weight. And if you have a table would be ideal. I don't have a table out here in my garden, so I'm just going to use my knee. So what I'm doing, I'm putting my forearm flat against the surface here, which happens to be my leg. It could be a table. And I'm holding the weight. Now, if you can't manage this 1.5 litre weight, that's about 1.5 kilos, just get something that you can manage, something smaller, maybe an apple or a lemon or something you can grip quite easily, or just something that you might have handy in your kitchen, even a little spice bottle or something. And what we're doing, we're keeping this part of the arm, the forearm, flat on the surface, and we're just picking the object up. We're just moving it up and down. So you might want to hang your hand over the edge of your kitchen bench or over the edge of your table. You can see here, this is the part of my arm that's working. This is this muscle group here. So going up and down. Now we can turn it around so that this part of my arm works and go like that. Try not to flop it down like I'm doing, unless you want to give your arm a stretch. Okay, so let's do it with control. And down. Okay, so this part of my arm is the flexion part, the curling up part. Remember I said it's actually harder to use the stretching out part. So this side of my arm usually stays stronger than this side. So if I turn my hand over, this is the curling, the opening out movement, whereas this is the curling up movement. The body tends to go into a curling up position when there's a stroke or a brain injury. It's harder for it to keep using the stretching out muscles. So these are good exercises if you've had a stroke or a broken bone or a brain injury of some sort. Okay, I'm going to do that on the other side as well, just to make sure I'm even. Okay, we'll start with this one. So you can see I've got my forearm flat on the surface here, don't let it lift up. And I'm taking my wrist up and down as much as I can. Now you may not have the same range of motion as I do in my wrist. You might have had a broken wrist. You might have had a stroke. But anyway, even if you don't have a weight, you can still practice that, move up and down. And you'll feel it here, these little muscles here in your forearm. Let's turn that round to give the other side. The other side, much stronger. Doesn't need as much exercise usually. Okay, here's one that's handy. Now, this is the the drinking action. So when you actually take something to your mouth and you want to drink, all your muscles in your hand and your arms have to coordinate so you don't basically spill it all over you, and so you don't drop it. So not only do you have to grip the object, you also have to control it and make the muscles on both sides of your arm coordinate together. So we can exercise that as well. So here I am, I'm keeping my arm down flat on my surface there, and I'm just going up and down. So this time what I'm seeing is this part of my hand is up. And we don't really even think about these things. We do them automatically when we're well. But once we have to recover, then it becomes a bit of a challenge. Okay, let's even it up on the other hand. So I'm just making my wrist go down and up sideways. Just do a few of them. Now, one of the variations on this, if you've ever had a stroke, you might have had this in a rehab unit. They'll get a foam cup or a soft cup, you know, a polystyrene cup. They'll fill it with water. And not only do you have to lift it up and not spill it, but you can't squeeze the cup too hard. And you have to control it so that you don't spill the water or spill it on yourself when you're drinking. So that's just a variation on that. And I thought now we might just finish with a little bit of balance exercise. So now, if you have poor balance, please do this next to something that you can lean on. I might put my chair in front. Okay, so I've got my broom. So what I can do, I can hang onto my broom. If my balance is poor, I'm going to hang onto my chair. Otherwise, I'll just widen my base of support like this, and I'm going to stretch back. Okay, so if your balance is not good, please hang on to your chair or your bench. I'm going to lean back with the broom. You can even put your hand on here if you want. And so you're just practicing turning, looking, keeping your balance. Notice I'm bending my knees a little bit too, because that helps with my balance. Okay, other side. And there we go. Okay, so it's amazing what you can do with a broom and a rubber band. I think that's all we've got time for today. I'll see you again on Wednesday. Bye.